Hello, Dale's Daily Devo. So, yesterday I brought up this concept of original sin. Still contemplating and thinking upon that. And as you think about a little child, you know, we see a little child and a little child is doing wrong or has this lean toward choosing things that are not good, and we can write that off and say original sin. Really? But when I think of the concept of uh, freedom of your will, that this gift that God has given us, that we can make a choice, and basically it's a 50-50. You could choose to do the right, you could choose to do the wrong. But the interesting thing is that infant, that little child, what are they basing it off of? Now remember, Adam and Eve were full grown, they were adults. So they had been given instruction by God, so they had a reference of what was right or what was good or what good looked like. This infant that just came out, this little kid, I mean, maybe as a parent we've shared it with them, maybe we haven't, but yet they don't really understand our language yet, and yet they're doing things, and we see them doing, things that may not be good. But realize that the fact that because we have this free will, there's a 50-50 chance every time you could choose to do the right or you could choose to do the wrong. But as that little child who doesn't know yet, it's a 50-50. It's like flipping a coin. But now, once we begin to learn and we understand, and we are being taught and shown what good looks like, what is the right thing, what we ought to choose, and how we ought to choose. And then once we're introduced to who God is, and that God has a will, and God has a way, and there is a righteous way that God wants us to follow, now that free will, that 50-50 chance, that flip of a coin has something behind it to now say, well, do I want to flip the coin or do I just want to exercise my free will and just choose the right thing? Yes, when I was younger, it was like flipping a coin because I may not have known what was right. I may not have known what God's will was. But today, now, I know. So I shouldn't be gambling anymore. I shouldn't be flipping a coin. I should be making the choice. Yes, it's my free will, but my free will chooses to be in the will of God. So therefore, I exercise my free will to be obedient. Now, we want our children to be obedient, but how can a child be obedient before they even know what that is? Before we show them, before we teach them, before we instruct them, before we give them the information that they need to understand and know what is right and what is wrong. So again, we go back to the tree, the knowledge of good and evil. Because to be able to make a decision using your free will and to be held accountable for it, you had to know what was right. See, that becomes the intriguing thing. Adam knew what was right because God had already instructed him. So the tree didn't give him the knowledge of good and evil, but Adam still chose to disobey. He exercised his free will and chose not to obey God. See? Becomes intriguing as we begin to really look at this concept, and we've thrown so many words on it, and we address it in so many ways, and we've looked at it the same way for years upon years upon years. But no, let's look at it the way I believe. This is just Dale. I believe it is really meant to be that we had a free will, and we were shown in the garden what was right. Don't eat of this one. So we were shown what was right. So now, instead of being a flip of a coin for Adam, it became the exercising of his free will, and he chose. So again, we as adults, young teens, youth who understand and know what is right and what is good and what is bad, we're not flipping a coin anymore. We are exercising our free will. So therefore, it is on us. So we choose. So therefore, yeah, the responsibility now is going to have to fall on us. We've got to take that on. Yep, it's been laid out to us what is right, what is wrong, what is righteous, what is unrighteous, what is evil, what is good, what is bad. It's been laid out for us, so we kind of have an understanding now. So the choice is ours. The choice is ours. So, do you know what good looks like? Do you understand what righteousness is? If not, I think those should be on the top of your list today to figure that out, because you're being held accountable for utilizing your free will. And if you choose, what are you basing that on if you don't know what good looks like? So I challenge you today, find out what good looks like and then make the right choice. Dale's Daily Devo. Check you out tomorrow.